inspections. So all of my installers are CPSIs, which is a Certified Safety Playground Inspector. But to keep your district covered from liability, the best option is to have a third party, so somebody that's completely unrelated to me, come out and do a full safety audit before we open the park. So I've included to do that too. And basically we'll get a report. Typically there are a couple of minor things to show up on the report. We'll make all changes before the park is open to the public.
Two things too is that I want to add. Typically, you would like to do this in the early spring, but so does everybody else that want to do it. And so sometimes that becomes a problem. You get the manufacturer trying to put out product and get a lot of demand. You've got really the installers can get way backed up because there's not a lot of people who specialize in this. A number of years ago, I started going to the late fall, early winter. And you're rolling the dice a little bit with the weather, but you're not losing anything if you lose some days. And the nice thing is, then when spring comes and better weather's here, they're ready and they're already done. They're not being worked on and people are watching and waiting. And you tend to sometimes have less vandalism issues because of the weather. People aren't really hanging out in parks when it's cold and it's a little wet. The other part too is, as we've noticed, a lot of our parks need some ADA updates. And so everything that will be required in relationship to the playground, pathways, entryways, those kind of things, that will also be done by Miracle as well. So it's kind of a one-stop shop, and we see some real pluses of going that direction.
And I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I was so focused on these that I forgot to bring a rendering of Freedom. And at Freedom, I'm sorry, Larry reminded me, and I still forgot. At Freedom, we are proposing to do some spring riders in the graveyard. I don't know what else to call it.
The butterfly garden.
The butterfly.
So, would it be an option for me to come back to your next board meeting with my designs for that? I'm sorry to.
Or you can provide them to me, and I can forward them to the board.
Okay.
If they have any comments, I can, get
Okay.
it back to you. If that becomes a hang-up.
We were
As you
able
know, we're repurposing the space, and it's amazing. Because Bridget and I had not talked about it until I told her that we wanted to do this, and she says, "Oh, the graveyard." And it's funny how many people think that that's a headstone sitting in there. And obviously, we will work to put that in another location adjacent to the butterfly garden and make sure that it's a proper relocation. But we're also going to purchase and install some public benches right outside so parents can actually sit there and watch their kids, because there really isn't anything there for them to do that. And so, yeah, Bridget, if you follow up on that and give me the color renderings, I can forward them to the board.
Perfect. And I did tell Larry that there are going to be some penalties if we dig up any bodies. So I'm not really worried about that.
So we got a grant for the first 5.
Right.
And that was for what again? That was the butterfly.
And we contacted them,
Okay.
and we told them that my staff are out there all the time, and they can't remember the last time they saw a butterfly. And
I got them all the time.
well, we asked them, we really had a need for some spring toys and stuff for the younger kids. And it just seemed to be kind of isolated and sitting out there by itself. So they've actually amended their contract to allow us to go ahead and do this. And so we'll no longer have that once every couple of year follow-up type of thing that we have to go through with them. And so, yeah, they gave us the formal approval to do this.
Okay. Yeah, it's been around for so long. Okay. So do you want a formal motion from us for the 2?
You can. I mean, I don't think it's necessary, but if you would like, you can do that.
I don't think we need 2 then.
No, I think you guys made it clear that you're the ones that you.
Yeah.
Good. And Terry doesn't like the one. Oh no, Terry will like the color of the one.
Yes.
Yes, she will like.
I think she's liking it right now. To tell you the truth.
She really likes the pirate one, so that
Yeah.
All right. Bridget, thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Bridget.
No problem. Did I need anything else from me?
No.
Okay. They're all 40 Freedom Park. I'm sorry again.
It's still about 100 outside.
No, do you want these? For any
If you
reason?
want to just leave them here, and then we can, if the public
Terry,
I would
can you
like to
just
see them, we can show
Oh,
them.
right.
Don't put the ones that we're not getting.
Now
Oh,
that she
yeah.
told me it was a tree house.
I'll take this one out then,
Okay.
and I'll leave those ones.
All right.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
So when we get closer to opening those, are we gonna try to like notify the press and everything?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I haven't talked to Bridget about it, and this is something that I've had some success with in the past, although it's kind of a little bit different type of projects.
Right.
CPRS does awards every year for innovative playgrounds,
Yeah.
repurposing of space, and there's all kinds of different categories. I would like, and of course, we have to chronicle the whole process. We take pictures of before, during, and after, and there's a whole story that has to be told, a lot of criteria that we have to meet. But, you know, I don't know if we would be, I wish I would be eligible, I don't know if we would win anything, but I think it's time to let people know that we're out here, we're doing these kinds of things. So, yeah, we'll be doing that as well.
Well, when we have the grand opening, Terry can be out there, Channel 3 wants to interview her.
I just said I don't like the color.
I thought she liked it.
Should be very resistant, I think.
I think so. All right, great, thank you all for that.
Thank you.
So we will go ahead and move on to 10C, Summer Recreation Program Highlands PowerPoint for discussion. I don't know, Mark's going to tell us what we're going to talk about.
Okay, so Barbara and I are going to go over what happened this summer. This was probably on record our best summer since I've been here at least, and I think this is now my 5th summer grand total. So go to the next slide here. Okay, so Summer Kids Camp is the first program that we'll kind of go over. This was by far our most successful Summer Kids Camp. Kids went on a lot of exciting field trips, like we always do every summer, but this year, like Scandia, the Road Museum, Skate Town, Funderland, and roller skating. And this year, our biggest issue that came up was transportation. Fortunately, Center Transportation is so flexible with us and so affordable. We were able to take all the kids to so many more unique field trips throughout the school year. And then, of course, every day we had a new theme for them. This was the first summer that our new site director, Jennifer Herda, ran the program. Since I've been here before, it was a lady named Carol Lemus, and she moved on to become a teacher. So, but Jennifer did an excellent job this year. She had a lot of obstacles because we had, if you go see the next slide, we had a ton of kids. Wow. A ton of kids. If you look at it, the comparison here, so 2015, this is the number of kids we had each day, 2014, 2013. Every week, we killed it. We averaged 33 kids a week. In comparison to last year, we had 16 kids a week. So it was really popular. A lot of that could be associated with the fact that we wanted to create a presence towards the end of the school year. We went to every back to school in the area, within our district. We did a presentation for them. We had rec leaders out there passing on information. We had signs in like all of our most frequented parks. You can see them in popular corners. So we saw a lot of new faces this year, and we're hoping to retain them. And then if we go to the next slide, you can see in terms of revenue how well we really did. We came in close to almost $29,000 in 9 weeks for summer camp. Compare that to last summer, which we thought last summer was successful because we met budget, it was $17,000. So we basically did $12,000 more dollars this summer. And if you look at it going into next year, we're probably going to kill it even more, considering we're going to have online registration. We have a lot of parents that choose other programs because they can't get here during our business hours, 8 to 5. But now with online registration, they're going to be able to pay for their kid to come to our summer camp, plus we can advertise more. So the program is only going to grow and get better. Yeah.
When do you get to a point where you have to hire additional staff because you have more kids? I mean, you know, you say after we get 20, we got to get another staff, and then after the next 20, it's another staff, or I mean, I don't know if there's any.
Well, we're lucky. So we run a lot of different programs, and we don't just have our staff just pigeonholed to just one position. So they don't just work summer camp; they work all the other programs. So during the summer, we probably had 16 staff members this summer that are flexible and trained and can do work every single program. That way they get more hours, and it allows us to, if we get more kids, we can adjust to that.
Okay.
we're ready for it all the time.
So I mean, I don't know, so,
What are your ratios?
What are my ratios? Okay, so we're about 1 to 7,
okay.
probably. Yeah.
So, but do you get to a point where if you have like 40 kids, you do have to go out and hire somebody else, or you got other staff? you
No,
use?
we don't have to, yeah.
We haven't got there yet.
And plus,
Yeah.
with the community center, we have a lot of room to grow.
Okay.
It's not like we're in a room like this, and
Right.
40 kids, it seems like a lot. In the community
Right.
center,
Right.
I think like one day this summer we had close to 40 kids. I think we had 39 kids in one day,
Okay.
which is a record. Before, I think the highest we had was 32 in one day.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go over recreation in the park. So this was pretty much my program, as you guys know, it was a free program on Monday through Thursday. That was intended to get the youth out and enjoying the parks and get them out of the house during the summer. So our staff were encouraged to do 2 arts and crafts activities and also 2 physical education, something where they're moving. Type of activities throughout the 10 to 1 time frame. So we held this program at 2 locations, Ridge Point and at Freedom. So these are our participation numbers. So as you can tell, the first week or so, we did very, very well. I mean, we had highs of 30 for Ridge Point and 18 for Freedom. The average attendance was about 13 for Ridge Point and 6 for Freedom. So as the summer went on, it kind of evened out until that last part where our lows, where you can see our lows at the very end, and that was that 1 week where it was 110 every day.
Yeah,
It's
pretty hot. Plus the fair's going on too.
Oh, exactly, the same as that week, yeah.
State fair.
I think that was the last week at the state fair, so everyone was trying to rush to it. So that's when we encountered the record lows. For the most part, we stayed consistent at about 13 for Ridge Point and 6 for Freedom. So basically, I gave instructions and materials to the staff and about 4 different activities per day. These staff were also encouraged to be able to think on the spot and to be creative. So an example of that was on the right. One of our rec leaders, Becky, our main rec leader at Freedom, she had an activity where she's creating butterflies out of pipe cleaners and construction paper. The kids didn't want to do it. So instead, as you can tell, they made mustaches out of pipe cleaners, and that kept them occupied for like 45 minutes to an hour. So that's just an example of the kind of flexibility that our staff has, and with what they did throughout the summer. This is examples of the kind of physical activities that we did. So on the left, they're playing, flag football, and they're playing, was it rock, paper, scissors to determine who gets the ball. At Ridge Point and at Freedom, one thing they love to do was stack cups. So they can spend like an hour and a half, 2 hours just creating a little village for themselves. So I mean, all around, we consider this a very successful launch for the Rankin Park program. And advantages for each park, they each had their own advantages. As you can tell, there was a difference in participation numbers between parks. So Freedom had more shaded areas and more amenities, built-in tables for transition time between activities. Staff could send them to the playground while they set up for other activities. So it's a little bit easier on the staff than that. And it was closer to our district office, so I'm able to take materials to them every single day pretty easily. For Ridge Point, it was a neighborhood park, and that's why we believe that it was a bit more popular. It was more accessible for the kids in the neighborhood. Some kids would bike there, some kids would walk with their parents over there. So, and it was also a little bit cooler for some reason. I think the trees over there created some more shade, so it was a little bit cooler there.
What's like the average age or the age range that you're getting for that?
The age range, well, I think we did K to 6,
Yeah.
but I got mostly